నమో నమః అందరికీ నమస్కారములు శుభోదయం we are on Sanatana Dharma course 16th day. So far we have learned Vedas, Vedangas, Upanishads and Darshanas. Today we are going to start with a new topic on Vimana Sastra by our well-known speaker and our course academic director, CSR Prabhu Garu. He doesn't need any introduction to you. So let us start with Vande Mataram. Then we'll have Prarthana from Satyavati ji. Then we will have the webinar. So let us start.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malaya Sitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram. Suprajyosna pulakitayamini pullakusumita drumadala shobhini suhasini sumadhura bhashini sukhadam varadam mataram Vande Mataram Vande Mataram.
Thank you. Dhanyawadaha. Allah Prabhu Garu. Let us have Prarthana. Satyavati ji.
1 minute meditation. गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपवस्त्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्पति आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः ॐ महागणपते नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवत्यवतु ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्य देवो भव अतिथि देवो भव। ओम गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। तत्सद्ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु।
धन्यवादाः. धन्यवादाः Satyavati Mahoday. Now let us request Prabhu ji to start his webinar.
Okay. Om. 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 Well, friends, today we will be covering the Vimana Shastra topic, and this is a very big proof that the Vimanas actually existed at one point of time in the proto-history or ancient history of India and the world before the present-day Vimanas. The present-day Vimanas are claimed to have been originated by Wright brothers in 1904, and there were two mechanics of workshop, automobile mechanics, who made some kind of a glider or kind of a craft which flew. But a lot of you may not be knowing that before that, a little before that, at Chowpatty beach at Mumbai, a Vimana called Marutsakha was flown in the beach for a short period, and then it came down. And that Marutsakha Vimana was made by Talpude, who was the student of Subraya Shastri. And that flight was witnessed by the Maharaja of Baroda, Mr. Gaikwad. And this fact is reported in Times of India of that time. And I have seen the copy of the paper cutting also. So that being the historical event in the modern times, we have the references to Vimanas in the ancient scriptures, in the ancient Puranas, in Vedas, and in Mahabharata, in Harivamsha, of course in Ramayana. The Pushpa Vimana in Ramayana is very, very fantastic. It is too advanced to be believed by modern Kali Yuga people like you and me. And in Harivamsha, one Saubhak Vimana was referred, using which Salva invaded Dwarka. So, and the descriptions given in the Puranas, they are not technical, they are just kind of literary descriptions, sometimes may be incorrect or sometimes may be exaggerated also. But the point I'm trying to make is that there are substantial number of references. And what is important is that various lokas, this is Bhuloka, Bhurityam Lokaha, Bhuvarityantarikshah, Swaritadityaha, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. So all these lokas and Vimanas were going up and down. In fact, even Dasharatha went to Svargaloka to fight a war and came back. And Mandhata did that. So these things look very fantastic. So on one side, we have the modern textbooks which say that all science originated in England or nearby England about 150 years ago. And before that, there was no science and technology. A lot of people, particularly the leftists and many other modern age people, youngsters and textbooks, they describe a scenario of history of science of just about recent times, 150 years of Western science origin. And before that, there was no kind of science or technology. That is the picture we get when we listen to or when we read to this text. So the basic question that arises is it true? So let us ask a fundamental question. Is it true that there was no science or technology of any kind before the discovery of laws of physics, chemistry, and other subjects by people like Newton or Leibniz or Boyle or Pascal or Young. If we assume for a minute that was true, then before that point, say before Newton, for example, nobody should have understood the law of gravitation or laws of motion. Am I right? And if that were to be true, it will not be possible for anybody to construct any large structures like palaces, forts, temples of multi-story, because they all require knowledge of gravitation and knowledge of force or material science or material strength of materials, engineering, civil engineering, and say Ramasetu, for example, it is a big feat in civil engineering. And the Ganga River itself is not a natural river. It is a project. It is an irrigation project executed by Bhagiratha at his time. There was no Ganga before Bhagiratha. So now all these facts, or even the construction of, say, Taj Mahal, or construction of even Charminar in Hyderabad, all these feats will not be possible without the understanding of gravitation or laws of motion or strength of materials. And let us say the Tanjavur Brihadishwaralayam, which is constructed by Rajaraja Chola, which is about 1,000 years old. So according to textbooks, framework, nothing was there, no science and technology was there before the modern Western origin of science, of physics, chemistry, engineering, all by Britishers and their neighbors. Surprisingly, the Russians differ from this worldview. They give the Russian scientists names for all the discoveries made in physics, chemistry, mathematics, and Germans also differ. Only Indians are the only country which admit the British origin of science and technology. And the Britishers themselves, of course, they will be proudly telling about their own scientist names. So other than England, which describes its own people as great scientists, no other country except India and colonies like Canada, Australia, they admit the British origin of science and technology. So this becomes a very embarrassing situation. If there was no science and technology, how is it that all these big monuments, let's say pyramids, nobody till today knows how the pyramids were constructed? What is the technology? Till today, they have not understood how it is possible to construct such a pyramid. Nobody knows. And nobody knows how, say, Brihadishwaralayam has a 1,000-kilo stone being held at the topmost point, how it went there. And nobody knows how the Gomateshwara statue was constructed. For example, if you take the Buddha statue at Hyderabad, Sensagar Lake, I remember when that statue was sought to be erected, it was taken on boats from the shore into the middle of the lake and it sunk into the waters. So for many months or years, it remained underwater. And finally, they had to bring extraordinary mechanical instruments from Germany and other countries to extricate it and put it up. Before that, it was carved into that shape, a monolithic shape of Buddha. It was carved at Bongir and it was brought on a crane from Bongir to Hyderabad, which costed around 2 crores per day. And that crane was brought from Germany. So such a great difficulty today to erect the statue of Buddha. But people don't realize that there's a bigger statue, bigger than Buddha statue at Shravanabellagoda in Hassan district of Karnataka near Bangalore, where a statue bigger than the size of Buddha statue of Hyderabad is standing on the top of a hill. So the question arises how they could take to the top of the hill. Today it is not possible. Today, if Buddha statue has to be taken to the top of the hill, it is not possible. So there are many such enigmatic questions. How it is possible? There are many such wonders, and one Praveen Mohan has been showing a lot of such fantastic things in Indian temples in his videos of late. So similarly, if you take the Ayurveda or the medical system of ancient times, which is around 3000 BC, and the Sushruta surgery text, Sushruta Samhita, which is used as the basis for modern surgery. All modern surgical instruments are copied from Sushruta Samhita. So it becomes very enigmatic, a very big question mark. How is it possible? So the second question that I want to ask all of you, because you are all Sanskritists, you have studied Mahabharata, Ramayana, Puranas, and you will be studying more in this course. That question which arises is, are all the descriptions given about various things, events like war, Mahabharata war, or the Astras, Brahmastram, Pashupatastram, etc., described in the Mahabharata in detail, or in other Puranas of deadly wars that took place, Star Wars kind of space wars, most horrible wars took place. Are all this true or fake? This is the question I want to ask. So if you say they are true, then I want to ask you, where is the proof? And many of our friends outside this group consider all that is fake. So if all that is fake, then where is the proof that it was fake? Because we require proof for everything in this world. I told you previously, without proof, there is no Sanatana Dharma, Hindu culture. So these two questions are enigmatic. There is no answer till today. And I have been trying to get an answer for the last 60 years. I'm around 70. And I'll tell you my personal journey in this question, trying to answer these two questions. So when I was a student of BTech in JNTU in 1971 to 76, it so happened that the Vimana Sastra text with Hindi translation published by Arya Prathinidhi Sabha in 1959 came to my hand from the Nizam's State Central Library at Afzalganj. And after that, I have not returned it back, though it is a big mistake. But here is that book which I got bound, which is a very old book now. So this book was printed in 1959. And it is called Vimana Shastra, and it contains detailed descriptions of Vimanas, Yantras, parts of Yantras, and how to make those parts by making some materials, around 200 to 300 materials. Formula are given there. It is not an original text, it is a quoted text. It is a derivative text from other texts. Around 99 odd different texts have been referred in that book. And those texts are not available today, but some of those texts are referred in some other texts also. So I sat with my classmates and juniors. I belong to the 1976 batch, and 77 batch when Yoganandam was there, and many other classmates and juniors. We sat together and tried to decipher something out of this book. So this book contains around 13 electrical machines. There are 32 yantras, out of which 13 are electrical. So out of which we try to decipher by drawing diagram and description of the Vimanas, yantras. They are not Vimanas, but yantras of Vimanas of electrical nature. So there's a description of some kind of battery, their own type of, not our battery. It's a different world of science. So it is called Vidyut Yantra, that is a motor, something like a motor. Vidyut Utpadaka Yantra is something like a battery. And then Vidyut Dvadasaka Yantra, which is a neutralization of the lightning when the Vimana is moving. All these things were not described like Pushpa Vimana in Ramayana, because Valmiki is not a Vimana Shastra expert. He is a Kavi. He wrote a Kavyam. So he will not describe the technical functionalities or preparation, how to make do-it-yourself kind of a book. He will not write. Whereas Vimana Shastra is exactly that. It gives you procedures on how to make new materials and how to make parts with those new materials and how to make yantras using those parts, machines, and then how to assemble those yantras into Vimanas. So obviously the first step is to make the materials. So after finishing interpretation of around 13 electrical machines with diagrams and description, because I was able to translate into English and I was able to explain to my classmates in the lunch break at the lawns of JNTU campus at Asapta in those days, which is still there as the State Council of Higher Education and the College of Fine Arts at Masapta. So we could make out that they had some kind of knowledge of some kind of motor, some kind of battery, and some kind of other electrical machines also, which we are not able to understand fully what they are. And after that, I left JNTU. I finished BTech and went to IIT Mumbai to do MTech in electrical engineering with specialization in computer science from 76 to 78. So at that time, I was teaching yoga in the IIT Bombay hostels also. And many people were learning from me. And people from Bombay city also learned. One Naren Sheth, he is a travel agent in mountain area of Mumbai city near Victoria Terminus. He was also my yoga student. He's a Gujarati hailing from Kemp's Corner in Mumbai city. And he was doing a project inside IIT Bombay in trying to reproduce one material called Chumbak Mani with the help of the chemical engineering department, one Professor Puskute, a lecturer there. And what he did was that he deciphered 20 words in a formula for making a new material called Chumbak Mani. And he deciphered them with the help of dictionaries and Ayurvedics and brought those ingredients and melted them in a crucible in the chemical engineering lab of IIT Mumbai. And then whatever came out of that exercise was called Chumbak Mani. And that was sent for characterization to TIFR in Colaba in Mumbai. And then they realized that it is a ferrite, soft ferrite. And it could also function as a semiconductor. Then they were shocked. How come it is a semiconductor? It is not silicon or germanium. It's a mixture. So what they did was they wrote to CSIR, and then CSIR established a project called Chumbak Mani project, in which this was reproduced again by one Professor Sharan, who passed away. All of them, of course, passed away. Some of them may be alive. And that was again characterized by one Om Prakash in TIFR. And again, it was confirmed it is a semiconductor and it was a software. And we know that semiconductors have come into existence in the West since 1950s, late 50s. And germanium was the first and silicon was the next. And they were the basic materials for production of transistors, diodes, and we studied all of them in our electronics and communication engineering course. And later they became the basis substratum for integrated chips. Circuits were incorporated into the chips, and today the entire technology of chips is based on that semiconductor physics. So it was an enigma. How come that a Sanskrit text, an unknown Sanskrit text, which is not found as a manuscript in various libraries? Because normally various manuscript libraries have Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these books, thousands and thousands of them, but the Vimana Shastra was not there. And so nobody was able to explain how and why. Then after that, when I went to USA, I was in Boston in MIT campus for some time with my friend Kumar Nochur, who is still in Boston, who was doing PhD in R&D management. So I spoke about this Vimana Shastra to some of the people living there. I was staying in Ashdown House Hostel. Then they all said, even if 1,000th part of this text is true, then it is a proof that science and technology originated in India or in the East and not in the West, not in the Europe or Western countries or America. So they asked me to bring that book. I don't have the book. I just told about it. Then I shifted to California in connection with my job. So there also, the University of California at Irvine, Santa Ana, Irvine. I lived in Santa Ana. I taught yoga at Santa Ana. Even now, my yoga student is there, Bhupendra Soniji, Gujarati. I went there recently and met all of them, revived my contacts, but again lost them after that. So this University of California, Irvine also said, you bring the text, we will investigate. But obviously the text was not with me. So finally, I took a decision to return back to India, giving up my plans for establishing a yoga institute at California. Though that student of mine, Bhupendra Soneji, has done that and he's benefiting out of it. And he has no much of connection with me nowadays, but he's done well there. He's made a lot of money, Gujarati. And after coming back, I was in Telco Pune, and then I joined NIC Hyderabad in '86. So during my NIC stay, Dr. B.G. Siddharth, the head of the Birla Planetarium, visited my office. And then we were discussing about this particular Vimana Shastra text. So he was asking me, is there any references or evidence of any lens? Because he was able to see the statements in the Rig Veda that the Mercury and Venus had their Buddha and Shukra had their phases like moon, waning and waxing phases were not visible to human eye, but they have been described in Rig Veda, which means there was some kind of a telescope. That means there was some kind of a glass lens. So Dr. Siddharth asked me, did you find anywhere in Sanskrit text any description of a lens with a glass? Then I told him in this Vimana Shastra, there is a whole chapter on glasses, different types of glasses and all that. So then he said, you give me that book. Then it so happened that day, my wife kept all the waste papers and waste books in the house to be sold to the Kabadiwala, waste paper merchant. So all that was kept outside. In a few minutes, that fellow was going to take away all that. And I located the Vimana Shastra in that waste pile. And I pulled it out and saved it to the chagrin of my wife. But that brought me great amount of revolutionary impact in my life and also in the history of science and Indian culture. That made tremendous impact. And I brought that waste book out and showed it to Dr. Siddharth. He said, you give it to me. I said, no, I will not give unless and until you will conduct some, you do something about it. So he conducted a national seminar on ancient Indian science and technology in 1990 at the Birla Planetarium, Bhaskar Auditorium. And I gave a copy of this book. And then we invited a lot of speakers from a lot of subjects, mathematics or physics, chemistry, astronomy, to speak on the ancient Indian science and technology. So Gali Janardhan, not Gali, but N. Janardhan Reddy. N. Janardhan Reddy, who was a minister, he came and inaugurated that seminar. I was on the stage along with Dr. Siddharth. And then we have covered many demonstrations and many presentations on the ancient Indian science and technology. And this Vimana Shastra also was presented, not by me, because I was the organizer and head of the committee of that conference, but by one Naren Sheth. I just now mentioned about him from Mumbai, who produced that Chumbak Mani in IIT Mumbai, and it is a semiconductor, and it also had photovoltaic properties. If exposed to sunlight, it was able to generate electricity in a particular liquid called Paragrandhika Drav, which he himself produced. And he produced one Panchadhara Loha for making the wires, leads connecting to this semiconductor into the Paragrandhika Drava. And all these are described in the Vimana Shastra in what is called Tamo Yantra. That is the Tamo, in Guhagarbha Adarsh Yantra. So Guhagarbha Adarsh Yantra is a yantra which will detect any bombs and which are kept underground from the Vimana which is flying in the air. So this Chumbak Mani generates microwave radiation which penetrates the earth, gets impinged on their bombs, metallic objects, and get reflected back and come back to the Vimana and create an image on a screen. Pataniriyapaka Lepa was applied to the screen. And from that image, they can identify Agnigoda, Mahagoda, other bombs underground from the Vimana. Does it sound like science fiction? But this was actually there and it was reproduced. The Chumbak Mani was reproduced not by me, but in IIT Bombay, by my friend Naren Sheth, who was very old by then itself. And this established that there was some kind of advanced technology. Still, then we try to make an arrangement with the Birla Science Center that Birla Science Center will take it forward, make more such new materials or machines and technologies and show to the world. But that man said, if you are going to do so, then you give me the patent rights. And the Birlas also being Marwadis, and that man was a Gujarati, both were businessmen of Vaishya community. They were not willing to compromise on the patent rights. The Birlas insisted, if you don't give us patent rights, we don't want to have any connection with you, get lost. So that man dropped out, and by then we already made a big statement in the press, because in that conference, one man came, Yanamandra, he is in Mehdipatnam, he was around 70 years old, and he told that he saw the original manuscripts of the Vimana Shastra and many other texts in Bangalore, physically in manuscript, paper manuscripts, old paper. Sometime in 1950s, around 30 years ago, before this event took place, it was in 1990. So around 60 or 50s or 60s. So we took him to Bangalore in search of locating those manuscripts. And believe it or not, in the great-grandson's house of Subraya Shastris, we found those manuscripts of the original Vimana Shastra, which is a printed version, but there were the original handwritten manuscripts belonging to 1911, 1912, 1930, and my last was 1940. And those manuscripts comprised not only Vimana Shastra, but many other Shastras, like Amshubodhini and Kritaga Vajra Nirnaya, and Aptat Upanyasa and Anhiganisme Parijatam, and so on. And one receipt was also there, which listed around 92 manuscripts, including one Valmiki Ganitam. But those manuscripts were missing. So the people who were alive at that time told me that when they were small child, one G.R. Josher from Mysore came and took those manuscripts and gave a receipt. That receipt was there. So I went to Mysore in search of G.R. Josher. And G.R. Josher was no more alive. His son G.N. Josher was there. And he said, I don't have anything here. You can search my house if you want. Because I was from Government of India, NIC. I could even take a search team and search, but I didn't want to embarrass him. So, but he gave some names of some other people, Chitabindu Maharshi in Jayanagar in Bangalore, and another film personality, a film producer. So I went to them and I asked them what happened to those manuscripts. They said, yes, we had some manuscripts, but we have given to XYZ, and those XYZ are not traceable. One Subramanian Iyer of Shimoga was mentioned, and so I was trying to go to Shimoga and catch him. But he himself came to Bangalore, to Vayali Kaval, and we met there, and he gave one book which he had and said, that's all I have. That is Amshubodhini. So he was very happy that I came in search of him after so many years. So I realized that many of these manuscripts mentioned in that receipt are missing. They're lost, like Valmiki Ganditam, which is an advanced mathematical text giving the space roots of the Vimanas, which is quoted in the Vimana Shastra, is also missing. So also many other texts mentioned were missing, but whatever was available was available. So we Xeroxed all those manuscripts and brought them back, the Xerox copies, to Hyderabad, and we formed a committee. The committee comprised of Dr. P.G. Siddharth, who is the director of Birla Science Center, and Professor M.C. Ganorkar, who was director of Birla Institute of Scientific Research, the chemistry lab at Dilsukh Nagar, and third was myself. And my role was only to Sanskritly decipher the Sanskrit text to some extent, and they will do the experiments in the lab with my association to produce new materials and maybe new machines. That was the plan. So we conducted a press conference at Birla Science Center and announced this plan, showing all these manuscripts we had. I still have them with me in KMIT in my room. Those who are interested can come and see. And those manuscripts were shown to the press in the press meet, and we told them that we are going to decipher something and produce something out of this. So the press made big reports in the newspapers. And then when we came to know that this Naren Sheth is not going to come because he wanted all the patent rights and for which the Birlas were not agreeable, then we realized that we are in a tight spot. What to do now? So if I knew any one of you at that time, I could have told you that, okay, Challa Chitbabu Garu, come and do something, or Akela Babu Garu or Prabhakar Garu, come and, but I didn't know any one of you. We don't know what to do, because on one side, we gave a press statement. It gave a big way in all the newspapers in Hyderabad. And on the other side, we are not able to proceed because this Naren Sheth from Mumbai has refused to collaborate with us. Then, believe it or not, it is something like a divine intervention, miraculously, that I decided that I will play the role of Naren Sheth by putting my legs into his shoes, by trying to decipher some of the formula, whichever I can, and then try to reproduce in the lab without this Bombay team. So every day morning, 3 o'clock onwards, I used to sit till 6:37 yoga session. So I used to try to locate some formulas which I can decipher in Sanskrit. They're all Sanskrit words. And many of these formulas given are having 10 to 20 ingredients, which is very difficult. So I try to first locate these smallest, which had only 3 ingredients. That is called Tamogar Bhaloha. Krishna Sisam Chanjanikam Vajratundam Samamshataha Sampurya Suktimushayam Satakakshoshna Vegataha. Take, he say, gave 3 inputs: Krishna Sisam, Anjanikam, Vajratundam. So all your Sanskrit experts sitting there, can you tell me what these 3 are? So we found Krishna Sisam means black lead. Okay, fine, we got black lead. Anjanikam, what is it? Nobody knows. And what is Vajratundam? Nobody knows. I searched all the dictionaries. I went to all the libraries. I met all scholars. Nobody knows. And suddenly, when Anjanananda came to my house, he was a yogi who was never eating any food. He had the big hairs and all that. He used to walk miles and miles all the time. He came to my house. He lived in my house for 3 days. And then he told me, you go to one shop called Munnalal Davasas at Begum Bazaar and ask him Surma, because Anjanam is given translated as Surma in Hindi dictionaries. So Anjanikam is translated as Surma. So when I went and asked Surma, Then the Anjananda told me that they'll ask you Kala or Safed. Then you say Kala because it is Tamogar Bhalwa. Then when I went and told that man, Surma, he asked me Kala or Safed. I said Kala. Then he gave me one big stone, which is lead ore, lead sulfide, galena. Then third item, Vajratundam. What is it? Nobody knows. So I came in contact with Ayurvedic researchers, Ayurvedic experts, topmost Ayurvedic expert one. Dr. Ram Nivas Sharma was there at that time. He lived for about 100 years and passed away. He wrote 25 textbooks and he was known as the modern Agastya. He was like a great man. He had many awards, Dhanvantari Award. So Ram Nivas Sharma told me this in the Ayurveda, they are using this Vajratundam word. He actually literally it means somebody who has a nose like diamond. So in dictionaries, it will be shown as Garutman. Garutman will not help us because we need some material substance. So finally, we could decipher that it is a cactus plant. And there are many types of cactus plants, round and tall and circular and all that. So he said, you take the tall one. So that is what is used in Ayurveda. So I use that. So these three items, black lead and galena, lead sulfide, and the third one is the cactus plant. These three things were put together in a crucible and we melted in the chemistry lab of the Birla Institute of Scientific Research, headed by Professor M.C. Ganorkar, who was the HOD of chemistry department of Usmania University in the campus before he retired. So we had one Dr. Ranga Madhavan, who was the PhD student at that time under him, who is now in Reddy Labs. And this material which came out of that experiment was called Tamogar Phaloha in the Vimana Sastra. And we had one black material, which I produced as 1 centimeter square. And then you can see this is the Tamogar Phaloha, which I have with me, recently reproduced in Jain University once again after initial reproduction. And then the same thing is in different shapes. And this is in a cylindrical shape. And then we also produced 1 centimeter square size of the same item, Tamogar Phaloha, in the lab. And we showed it to the Usmania University Physics Department. Chittibabu Garu may be knowing the Physics Department of the Usmania University, where one Tamil professor, I knew him for a long time. So I took this 1 centimeter square of material of Tamogar Phaloha and performed the experiments on laser incidence. So the laser incidence showed that laser was getting absorbed up to 79%. A ruby laser beam, when was the incident on this, did not return back. It returned back less than 20%, 30% to 79%. It was absorbed. So that showed the meaning of the word Tamogarbha. That means it has darkness in its womb. And we could make out that it will absorb microwave also, any radiation. So such a material never existed in the modern history of science. So it was patented by the Birla Science Center and their name. I avoided my name because I was with NIC, Government of India, and Government of India was under Congress government, who was very much negative towards all this. And though there was a discussion on this topic in the parliament itself during P.V. Narasimha Rao's time, but nothing was being done. And that was the first triumph we faced, we reached. And second was one Pushpini Yantram, which had one Panchaloham, which is, though it is called Panchaloham, it has got only 3 ingredients, copper, zinc, and lead. And he has given a formula of that particular combination, which we melted in the lab and produced one golden colored Panchaloham, which is now reproduced in Jain University at Bangalore. And this we produced small piece at that time. And it had a special characteristic of not getting corroded with salt water as normally any brass or bronze would get corroded. And yes, that's true. Tamogarbha Loha was used. I'll tell you how it was used. In Tamo Yantra, it was used. And the Panchaloha, which we are talking, not the normal Panchaloha comprising of 5 elements like copper, zinc, lead, and gold and silver, which is used for the idols in the temples. That is different. It has actually 5 inputs, but here only 3 inputs. But it looked like gold when it came out. As I could show you, this is described in the Vimana Sastra as Hemavarnam Mrudulam. He said it is soft. Soft to what? Not to the hand, but when we did the machining, we realized that it was very soft. It was malleable, ductile, and I could make a ring also. I could make many objects out of it. So they proved that this Panchaloham, what is more interesting is when we performed the corrosion studies. So it was uncorroded with 4% saturated sodium chloride solution. Or rather, it was corroded 1,000 times less. Normally, in ASM, American Society of Metals references, big, thick reference books will be there. In 1981, we saw that 33 copper alloys, they were given C grade for sodium chloride corrosion. Because if you expose any copper alloy like brass or bronze into say seawater or salt water and keep it for some time, then let us say 1 day, then it will lose weight. And the loss of weight will be at the rate of around 0.2 milligrams per decimeter square per day. So if you keep it for many days, it will disappear. It will be lost, completely lost. So whereas this one was, loss of weight was 0.00, 1,000 times less, 0.002 milligrams per decimeter square per day. So this was a big turning point, as the Tamogarbha was also the first turning point. So then we went for the third material, Araratamram, which is used in what is called the Vakra Prasarana Yantram. And that he has described as Hemavarnam Drudham. So why did he say that? When we produced it and we got it tested in JNTU Metallurgical Engineering Department, Poshal, he told me it is very hard. It has Young's modulus of 16.9, harder than steel. Steel Young's modulus is 15. So that Vakra Prasarana Yantra was made, actually here it is, and this scaled down model. Originally it was 24-inch dia, but this is only 4-inch dia. It has got 2 outputs and 1 input. So this is used for as a gearbox. There are 16 gear wheels inside. When I'm turning in one side, each one of these turns in one is in opposite direction and the same direction. So you get the reverse gear and different gears taking out the outputs in between. So we realized that it was used as a gearbox for the Vimana, for the sharp turns, sarpa tiryak gamanam, like snake-like motion, wave motion, or reverse motion. It was being possible. So this was a big triumph. And this machine was made at MT Industries at Dindigal, owned by one Satya Reddy, who is my disciple in yoga. And he also owns the IARE Engineering College, which is Aeronautical Engineering College operating today. So all these tests of the characteristics of the materials were done at DMRL, NGRI, Usman University, and JNTU, and DRDO, and so on. So I wrote all this in a report, which I will share with you today. So I leave it to you to decide what to do with this. So I tried to make more new materials. I made some glasses. I made one Ushnasakya Apakarshana Darpanam, which was able to absorb light and only have heat in the glass. And I made one Prakashakya Apakarshana Darpanam, and I made a few, but I could not make many more, which I could decipher, but because we are not able to locate those materials as ingredients. And I wrote a report on the entire thing as a white paper. And this was published in various scientific conferences, starting with the Traditional Science Congress held at IIT Mumbai in 1992. And then later at JNU, another conference, and many places. And now this document became very famous. If you search the web, high technology in ancient Sanskrit manuscripts, this is the title of this document. You will find it in the web under academia. One Rustakos uploaded my document, and it is very famous. I gave a lot of lectures, maybe 100 lectures I gave. Once I gave a lecture at a conference, Indo-Nepal Sanskrit conference at Tirupati, Rashtriya Sanskrit Vidyapit, and that was covered all over globe, translated into all European languages, and websites were set up. It was a big sensation. So all these materials, around half a dozen materials, were patented under the Birla's name. Then I realized that I'm not able to proceed further because some of the materials require very high temperature furnaces beyond 1400 degrees. And 1400 degrees was the only limit of furnaces available in Hyderabad. So I tried to go to Bangalore Ceramic Technology Institute, BHEL, with 1800 degrees. And ISC Bangalore also, one professor there wanted to collaborate with me, but asked me to give all the formulas, which I refused to give. And then I was stuck because there were no furnaces available of that kind of high temperatures. And many materials like Rajaloham, which was used for the body of the Vimana, to withstand the high heat it experiences when it re-enters the orbit in the atmosphere due to friction. So Ushmapa, Loha, Rajaloha, but again, we could not reproduce due to various constraints. So I switched over to biological products. So in the Vimana Shastra itself, there is one food item, a powder or a laddu made out of powder, by eating which you will not require normal cooked food. Because when people go in Vimanas for long journeys, they cannot cook food and all that. So they made this, and they made many formulas, but one is Api Trunadinam Cha, the sutra is there. So from the grasses. So 3 types of grasses were used, Garbha and Munja and Kusha. And then this powder was taken out by some kind of a process, which I made that powder. And then we tested for its nitrogen content. It was higher than any other known protein source. And that is how our animal kingdom, cows and buffaloes, are very strong by eating those grasses, contain a lot of protein. So that powder can be used to make chapatis or laddus and eat, and you will be very strong for a long time without normal food. So in addition to that, I switched over to Tantra Shastra. There is an Uddisha Tantra written by Ravana himself, because in Ramayana there were 2 technologists at war. Rama is not a technologist, but his Guru Bharadwaja was a technologist. And this Vimana Shastra is ascribed to Bharadwaja. The sutras are ascribed to him. And on the other side was Ravana. So I wanted to study what Ravana has achieved. So he wrote one book called Uddisha Tantram, where he has given various miraculous tantric formulas involving mantras. But as you know, in the Kali Yuga, mantras and all are not possible. So I limited myself to non-mantra, Vina Mantrena Siddhyati. So there is one Agnistambhanam. So, he has given a herbal lotion. Lepena, Kinchid Vastur Nadahyate, no object shall burn. So we didn't believe. My son was a small young boy. We both together tried that, and we got that liquid lotion. And when we sprayed it on paper or cloth, when we put into the flame, it was not burning. So I have taken a patent on my own name, because by then I already got disconnected from the Birlas, because we stopped that work because of lack of adequate furnaces facilities. And I got the patent on my own name. Initially, it was my mother's name. Then I got it on my name after she died. And that patent is still with me. This Agnistambhanam is a liquid which you spray on it. I can demonstrate. I have demonstrated many times. It will not, any object sprayed with it will not burn in fire, flame for quite some time. And so it is a fire extinguisher cum fireproofing liquid spray. So we got a patent, and then I switched over to what is called Anahara. In Tantra Shastra, I got one formula. Many formulas are there, but I tried one formula, which will, if you eat that laddu, then both hunger and thirst will be overcome, but sometime, not permanently. Shut pipasa apaham. Even in hot sun and some temperature in midsummer, you can walk without thirst or hunger with taking that. And then another anahara I got from Kautilya's Sastra and modified it. That is like a biscuit also we made and laddu also we made. If you eat that for 1.5 a day, at least you will not require food. And that anahara is also there. I have not taken patent due to various other reasons. So these are some of the inventions, and I was invited to IIM Ahmedabad as one of the inventors of India, and there are many other inventors who came with modern inventions. Mine were ancient reinventions or modified inventions or improvised. So this is the story of Vimana Shastra. I will stop here and open for discussion.
Thank you, Prabhu Garu. Those who want to interact, raise your hands. First, we will have Gupta ji.
Mahoday, I am really thrilled to hear today's lecture, and it is only because of the God's wish that I am able to listen to you. And we should do something to propagate the work which you have initiated. And just I was thinking, what is to be done? Can you watch it?
Yeah, we are forming one research group. You can join that group and we can delve deeper and think what is to be done. Further.
Yes, sir. Already I have opted for that research group. In your previous lecture, I gave that one and I have filled the Google form also.
No, there among the 4 groups, one group is on Vimana Shastra.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Whatever you wish, I will be joining that group.
Okay, go next. What is the next question?
Yeah, Jayanti, Pravina Jayanti.
Namaskaram, Mahodaya. Too fantastic. Today it is one of the best lectures, very engaging, and it is not just one thing, it is like a series of things that are like a beautiful necklace coming together. When you said Anahara, it is like Bala Ati Bala that Rama got from Vishwamitra, maybe as a mantra, but this looks like you have some material that can actually do something like this. And it is not a mere fiction that we are reading, even though somewhere in our hearts we believe strongly that this is itihasa, it actually happened, but this is actually like a proof. The names also, they are very, very I'm extremely thankful that I'm part of this today, and it is very, very fantastic lecture. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm a data science and a data architect by profession, like computer science engineer. And in the 4 things that you have given, one thing that draws me is the Ashtadhyayi and the computational linguistics, if I can do something about it. But I'm not Sanskritam.
We'll have a separate. I've given a separate lecture last time. Again,
right.
You can do some. Yeah, we can go forward. Yeah.
Okay. Dhanyawada, Mahoday.
Yes, next.
Okay, let us have Chakrapani ji. Please unmute. Chakrapani ji. Oh, okay. Chakrapani ji, baat kariye. What happened? 1 minute. Lakshmi.
Sir, namaste, sir. Really, I'm lucky enough to. I'm very lucky enough to hear your lecture, sir. I'm fortunate enough. Your lecture is really highly appreciable, and what to say? I don't have any words to describe your lecture, sir. Really, you are doing a very good service for the Itihasa. But whatever I wanted to do, but I could not do anything. I'm not a science student. But anyhow, I'm lucky enough to hear your lecture, sir. Thanks a
Okay.
lot for your beautiful lecture, sir.
Okay, Lakshmanarayan garu want to speak?
Namaskaram, sir. Sir, I am from Nuclear Fuel Complex. You might have heard in NFC Hyderabad.
Yes.
Sir, there is one branch is there. There is one, our department's one branch, BARC, Bhava Atomic Research Center, Bombay, will be able to help you. Hello, you are able to listen, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
They will be able to help you in analyzing the materials, in making the materials, and characterization of the materials. We can do that there. And also, there's in Hyderabad, there is one Midhani there, maybe knowing it.
No, I have
Mr.
already
Hatu
used.
Nigam.
No, we
Then
have.
they can, if you want, you can
we know.
experiment and you can do some materials manufacturing. And in nuclear fuel complex, in our area, actually, day and night we use the temperature, the furnaces, even 1700-1800 degrees is a very common thing for us. We got in resistance furnaces, induction furnaces, and arc melting furnaces and other things.
Very
Okay.
good.
So this, if you want any other help, I can help in all these organizations. And maybe we can arrange one lecture in BRC, I feel it, for all the scientists, where the materials group is there. For that material group, I'm sure this lecture will be very interesting, and as a research organization will be more interested in doing such things also.
Yes.
It is useful for the nation.
Sure. We look forward for that.
So right now I'm in USA. I'll be joining there in January. I'm coming back to India. So
Okay.
afterwards, I'll be in touch with you. So
Okay, sure.
if you want any help, meanwhile, I can tell me what exactly you want.
No,
Do it
you
in this
proceed.
department.
You know what is required. You go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I understand. I understood.
Right.
Whatever you tell, the material characterization is more important, I think, for you.
Yes.
After making the materials and characterization.
Yes.
You
We'll work together. Yes.
you may also join the research group, which is formed for
Oh, it will be nice.
Vimana Sastra.
Nice.
And
Can also help something wherever it's possible.
then you will get a team of people who will be working on this.
Yes, sir. Because
Okay.
Midhani is our friends are there. NFC is our own organization, and BRC is our own organization. And even in atomic minerals division also, some people will be available for us to help in this angle.
Okay, sure.
Challa Chittibabu garu.
Thank you.
Namaskaram, Prabhu garu. Actually, this Vimana Sastra lecture that was the first lecture that I have heard in the series that you started. That is the lecture that in fact pushed my interest in this Sanatana Dharma to understand there is a lot of science in this Sanatana Dharma, and it is not just mantras. Mantras also, as you said, are Shakti, and then there is science in it also. This Vimana Shastra was the basis for me to get into this track, and I think we should all come together through this forum to propagate this science and do something meaningful for the next generations, and to sustain or to bring the old knowledge, ancient science and technology to the next generation before it fades off. So this is my request, and all necessary efforts should be taken forward. Yes, namaskar.
Very correct. Yeah.
Okay. Now Gangadhar, let me unmute. Yeah, you're unmute. Let me unmute you. Okay.
Namaste, Mahadaya. yeah, we are really blessed to be part of this group and learning about all these things. And hats off to your patience and perseverance in doing all these experiments and making to share with us, basically. And I have a quick question. Can we share this YouTube with some of my friends who are
sure.
interested?
Yeah, it will be hosted for public. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And regarding the experiments, I will try to, basically the, especially in the Vimana Sastra, I would like to join the group, but I'm not sure at this point of time how much I may be able to contribute, but I would be really interested in doing that.
Okay. Okay, good. So in the chat box also, only comments are there. I don't see any questions. No, we have some time. Then we will ask anybody wants to speak something about Vimana Sastra. Anybody?
Yeah, Gautam. Yeah.
Gautamji.
Namaskar, sir. While in KMIT, that Sisa black thing I saw. In between, you told one thing, and this material with Young's modulus 16.9, you told, and that I have seen. In between, you told one which I could not make out. It is you told Araratamram. Araratamram was a different thing than other than the Young's modulus.
No. The Araratamram is the material used for this Vakra Prasaranam material.
Brochure.
Hard material 16 point.
But another one you told that copper alloy Panchaloha.
Yeah, this is different. This is soft.
Oh, this is soft.
This is corrosion resistant.
Corrosion resistant. Yes. Okay, sir.
Okay, let us have Lalita ji. Okay, let's have Lalita ji now. Sorry, I think.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Guruji.
Yes.
Hello. Namaskaram, Guruji.
Yes.
మీ లెక్చర్స్ వినడము నా పూర్వజన్మ సుకృతం అనుకుంటున్నాను. I thank everyone who organized this program. Thank you so much, everyone. ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఉంది. యాక్చువల్ గా ఈ రావణ సంహితం అనేదో రాశారని విన్నాను. అది కరెక్టా సార్?
ఉండొచ్చు, మనకి తెలియదు. అన్ని చాలా ఉంటాయి, మనకి తెలియని చాలా ఉంటాయి. ఉండొచ్చు. ఉడ్డీష తంత్రం అనేది మటుకు నేను చూశాను.
అది అందులో ఉన్నదా అని, ఆ ఉడ్డీష తంత్రం ఆయన రాశారని చెప్పారు కదా మీరు, అది అందులోనే ఉందా అని రావణ సంహితం అని?
అది వేరు, ఇది వేరు.
వేరు. అచ్చా, ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ అండి.
Gupta ji.
Namaskar, Mahoday. Yes. To the best of my knowledge in Puranas, Vimanas are used only by the Devatas and Gandharvas and Ravana, Asura, but not by human beings. What is the reason?
No, that's not true. One Salva used one Saubhaka Vimana against Dwarka. He attacked Dwarka. And the description is given in Harivamsham very clearly that it could not be cut by any weapons. And only when Krishna came back and used the Sudarshan Chakram, it had cut the laser kind of a beam into pieces, because that was all steel. Saubhaka Vimana. So your knowledge is to be expanded further. If you have to delve deeper into the Puranas, then you'll know more Vimanas being used.
Dhanyavad.
Jhansi ji, can you unmute yourself?
Namaste ji. Whenever I heard you, I really happy to see the knowledge you have and the enthusiasm to investigate things in the Puranas and all other Shastras. Actually, my grandfather is having some ancient books, but he never gave me those books. But one day I able to get one book which was published in 1919, which is this is VYV Chintamani. This is all remedies for all types of poisons, and it is written in Samskrita slokas with Telugu translation. This was published in Chennai, and like I always wanted to do something from this because I am a doctor. I wanted to do experiments and prepare some things which are antidotes for poisons using this book, but I don't know where to proceed and where to start this, because I try to do in my university. They have a pharmacological lab, but they are not much interested in these things. So please guide me. How can I extract these
No,
plant
there are
products?
many Ayurvedic experts and Ayurvedic institutions are also there.
You
For
just
example,
suggest me, sir. I really wanted to
so
go
for
and
example, we have
meet
the
with.
Ayurveda Institute at Charminar, Government
Okay.
Ayurveda Kalashala, and in Vijayawada also we have. So the Ayurveda people have labs. They will be happy to, and there is Central Institute of Ayurveda at Jaipur also.
Okay. Vijayawada and which place, sir?
Vijayawada, the famous Ayurveda Kalashala is there. I know one person whose father was the principal of that, Ganga
Okay.
Satyam Raju, and any Ayurvedic physician will be happy to collaborate on this. He will know the contacts for labs also.
Okay, sir. When I come to India, I will contact you because I wanted to do some experiments on this antidotes, poisons, and all. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
You may also get in touch with one of our speakers for the Sanatana Dharma course, C.A. Kishore. You may also get in touch with him. He may be knowing you.
I heard. I heard his lecture, but somehow I'm not connected with that person. He's a very negative attitude, I feel. I mean, sir, sorry to tell that.
Okay.
No, I can give you some other Ayurvedic physicians' numbers. One N.D. Raju is there. He is my disciple at Hyderabad, who is the son of Ganga Satyam Raju, who was the principal of the Vijayawada Ayurvedic College. Bandar
Okay,
Road.
sir. Sure, sir. When I come, I will meet and take all the details, and I will pursue further. Thank you so much.
Okay, Gopala Krishna Garu.
Namaskaram Andi. Once again, a great session, another great session from you. Meeru cheppina anecdotes, me personal experience, me network, it was very, very impressive journey of yours. I think there is a lot that we have to, learn from you. So coming to the book, the Vimana Sastra book that you talked about, does that book have only the how to make materials using these slokas, or anything else also was part of this this book?
No, after making material, it shows how to make a part, dimensions. Then after making the part, how to make the yantras. Like this one, Vakraprasad yantra, 24-inch diameter was there, but here it is only 4-inch. I made a scaled down real model. And so like this, there are 31 yantras given there.
I see. So these things have to be
200 materials. 200 to 300.
Okay. And eventually these these yantras are put together to make the actual Vimana. That's what
yeah.
I see. Okay.
They're far away. They are very far away. And there have been some very foolish people who criticize all this, saying that Vimanas will not fly. Where are the Vimanas? Vimanas are far away because we are not able to make the yantras also. We are not able to make parts of the yantras also. We are not able to make the materials also. So we made only a few materials, and we made only one yantra till now. So that to scale down model. It's a very, very huge, impossible task. And people don't understand. They talk all nonsense. They want to attack. They want to criticize, particularly those who are in the opposite camp. They want to, go on attacking. I have faced all those things and successfully overcome those kind of foolish attacks and criticisms, because they don't understand what is the complexity involved, what is the difficulty involved. And there are some other groups of youngsters who are oversimplifying the matter, and they will talk, loosely. Even politicians talk loosely, and then they get into trouble from the critics. Okay, next.
Thank you.
Okay, Padmini ji, can you unmute? Please unmute. Padmini ji, are you there?
No, next.
Mahalakshmi Durvasula. Unmute all of you. So anybody who wants to.
Okay, I think we can close now.
I have unmuted all of you. Anybody wants to talk, you can talk. Unmute you.
Sorry, Namaste Prabhuji. Sita Malakshmi here. No, I was unable to unmute myself, so now I was able to do it.
Yeah.
So Prabhu Meru, physics Vaiseshika, you have written one book. So this particular one, if I hear correctly, many of that is in research papers and seminars and all which you have given, right?
Yes.
You were following one book, but have you written and put any book on this? I want to know.
I wrote partly. It is not completed. There is a serious problem because many of the contents of the Vimana Sastra or other texts are not decipherable. They are very difficult. So only partly here and there we were able to decipher. That I wrote a report instead of a book. That is, I'll share in the group. That is called, it is there in the web. It's very popular. High Technology in Ancient Sanskrit Manuscripts. That's the title of the document. Okay. It is a report and a paper. And because I wrote a book partly, but got more or less stopped because of incompleteness. Because I wrote 16 books and all of them are thorough. They are textbooks in computer science or in Vaiseshika or in yoga. So I didn't want to publish a book which is not thorough, not complete, and not exhaustively correct. So it is because this subject is very, very abstract, and it is not understood, it is not deciphered. It's only small pieces here and there we are able to decipher and reproduce. So if I write a book without complete thoroughness, then there will be a lot of problem. That's why I did not complete the book, and I have the book partly, but I did not publish it because of that reason.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Padmini ji.
Namaste, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Namaste, sir. I'm very fortunate to join this group. I want to ask a question. It's not particularly about today's topic, but long back there was something called the God particle.
Yes.
And that was they said it is similar to that in the Advaita Siddhanta, something called as Brahman.
No. That is not true. The Higgs boson. It is.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
It is just called goddamn particle or God particle. It is nothing to do with Advaita. It is just a name given because it was Higgs boson. It was not known. It was very, very unknown and very difficult to know for a long time.
Achha.
So that's why they just use that word loosely. They have nothing to do with Advaita, those people.
Okay. Oh, thank you, sir. So one more thing, who will be guiding in Dharma Shastra, sir? Will you be
Dharma
guiding?
Yoga. Dharma Yoga is a separate topic.
They were in the 4 topics, the last one, I mean.
I am the guide for that also. I wrote a different
I
book.
would like to join that. Because my physics knowledge was only up to my PUC. Later on, I had taken botany and a PhD in botany. I have done Sanskrit also. So I thought that would be more suitable for me.
Okay.
My thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Varaprasad garu, like to ask you a question.
Namaste, Andy, Guru garu.
Yes.
I'm blessed to be listening to you, sir, as always. All these days, we were thinking that we were taught that it was Wilbur Wright and Orville Wright who has discovered these planes and all. Now it is vanished. And as has been happening, wrong narrations were given for so many things. And so because of social media, మనకు చాలా విషయాలు తెలుస్తున్నాయి. అవన్నీ మన వాళ్ళే చేశారని చెప్పి. And I being a commerce student, నేను ఎప్పుడు కూడా టెక్నికల్ సెషన్స్ ఇంత ఇంట్రెస్ట్ వినలేదు సార్. మీరు చెప్పిన విధానం నాకు చాలా ఆకట్టుకుంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. One more thing, sir, I live in Hyderabad. Having heard you for so many days, I am very, very keen to see you and meet you. Is it possible? Is it permitted?
Yeah, come to KMIT and meet me.
KMIT, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So nice of you.
Thank you.
Mukherjee ji, Gautam.
Sir, namaskar, sir, again. Sir, I wanted to know anywhere it is described that what is the flying principle. There is three kinds of flight is possible. So one is aeroplane like, where the propelling will be like with fan, but the floating will be with the help of a Bernoulli's wings. It is principle is Bernoulli's principle. Another is helicopter like, where the fan itself is cause of floating, rotating of fans. Third is like what the birds we see birds doing. They flap the wings and that way they think. Is there any mention that which is the flying principle?
Yeah, in the Vimana Shastra, there is a chapter on Jatya Adhikaranam, the Vimanas themselves. He has given list of Vimanas of Satyayuga and list of Vimanas of Treta Yuga and list of Vimanas of Dwapara Yuga and list of Vimanas of Kali Yuga. So in the Dwapara Yuga Vimanas list, some of the Vimanas we heard in Mahabharata. In Treta Yuga Vimanas list, Pushpa Vimana is also mentioned. And Kali Yuga Vimanas list, only the mechanical Vimanas. Because all the previous Vimanas were Tantric and Mantrik also. Whereas these are Kritakas are mechanical, in which the list, there are 4 of them are described more in the same text, but not adequately enough for us to reproduce. So out of those 4, 3 are representing these 3 different flight principles. So there is one Rukma Vimana, which is helicopter principle, vertical takeoff landing, VTOL. And there is one Sundara Vimana, which is the, what is called the nozzle, jet engine kind of thing. And the Shakuna Vimana is the bird type of aviation. So they have described how to make each one of them. Of course, the description is not adequate. It is very, very piecemeal and very brief. And therefore, we cannot make them because we have not made the parts also. We have not made the yantras also. And without understanding all that, people who read that, they criticize saying, "Arey, how can we make this? They do not fly." That kind of nonsense. So such critics are also there who don't want to spend time to even read the entire book and give proper assessment. So this is the answer. And finally, last question. Let us close.
గురువు గారు నమస్కారం అండి. మీరు ఇందాక ప్రవీణ్ మోహన్ గారి గురించి మెన్షన్ చేశారు. ఆ వీడియోస్ లో కూడా నేను చాలా చూసానండి. వాళ్ళు ఇచ్చిన డిజైన్ కూడా ఇట్స్ వెరీ డిఫరెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ ది బర్డ్స్ షేప్. అది కూడా వర్టికల్ ఫ్లైట్ లాగా చూపించారు. అయితే ఇప్పుడు మీరు చెప్పిన విమాన శాస్త్ర బుక్ లో యాక్చువల్ గా డిజైన్ ఎలా ఉంది?
అదే రుక్మ విమానం అని ఉంది. దాన్ని ట్రై చేసాం మేము తయారు చేయడానికి, కానీ చాలా ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ వచ్చి ఆపేసాము. అది వర్టికల్ టేక్ ఆఫ్ ల్యాండింగ్. దాంట్లో రకరకాల మెకానిజమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. Suction is there, and also some anti-gravity phenomenon is there. Some new materials, new technologies are all there. We are not able to reproduce. A lot of people have tried. Some partial knowledge is there, but not complete. So Rukma Vimanam is the vertical takeoff land. Next.
Okay, I think now we'll finish with question answer session. Now we will have Prarthana. Ananthanji, could you do Prarthana, please?
He is to unmuted.
Sir, please unmute, sir.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महिमैषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो सोमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणः सन्तु निर्भयः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ
Dhanyavadaha. Let's have Janagana Mana now. Challa Chitti Prabhu garu. All of you, please stand up and sing along with him. Mute your mics.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय
Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now I think we have finished with the webinar for today. All of you can leave.
Shall I close it, Colonel Ji?
Yeah, close it.
Research